Are you moving to the Salt Lake City area? What are some things you need to know about this area? What are the major neighborhoods you should check out? We're going to cover that and more next. Hi, I'm Robert Luke, and I've been a realtor in the area since 2005. This is part 2 of a 2-part video. The first video focused on housing areas on the east side of Salt Lake Valley, and this video will focus on the west side of Salt Lake Valley. But before we look at the west side housing areas, let's do a really quick recap. Orientation. Let's get oriented first. Check out the map. On the northwest is this Great Salt Lake in Davis County. On the east are the mountains with our ski resorts. On the west are the desert areas with lots of four-wheeler Jeep trails and hiking. To the south is Utah County with Utah Lake, Silicon Slopes, and the Provo-Orem area. Number 1 on this map is the Salt Lake International Airport. It takes about 30 minutes to get there from the bottom of the valley on a normal day. Number 2 on this map is downtown Salt Lake City. Number 3 is Immigration Canyon, where the pioneers first entered the valley. Hogle Zoo is in that area, as well as a very authentic pioneer village. Number 4 is Parley's Canyon, which is the road to Park City. Number 5 is Big Cottonwood Canyon, home of ski resorts of Solitude, Deer Valley, Brighton, Bald Eagle, and the back end of Park City. Number 6 is Little Cottonwood Canyon, home of the ski resorts Snowbird and Alta. And number 7 is the bottom of Salt Lake Valley, also called Point of the Mountain. This is the entrance to Utah Valley. Let's do a quick overview of transportation. There's a system in the valley called TRAX, which covers most of the valley from Salt Lake down to Draper, and on the west side from the airport down to South Jordan. Front Runner is a train system that runs from Salt Lake down to Orem and up to Ogden. Housing areas. In video number 1, we covered housing areas on the east side of the valley. These are North Salt Lake, Downtown Salt Lake, Harvard-Yale area, Sugar House and Mill Creek, Cottonwood Heights, and Holiday, and then Sandy and Draper. The housing areas I will cover in this video are Area 1, West Valley, Magna, and Taylorsville, Area 2, West Jordan and Kearns, Area 3, South Jordan and Daybreak, Area 4, Riverton and Bluffdale, Area 5, Harriman. Ready to start? There are 3 items I want to point out right off the bat. First is that any homes I show you today are just examples of the types of homes in these areas. They're not necessarily for sale. Second is that in most areas you can have older homes right next to a farm that was recently sold and developed. So you will see many examples of 1950s homes right next to a brand new housing development. Third, in Utah we measure the total square feet of a home to be the upper living areas and basement area. We do not include the garage. So a 4,000 square foot rambler or ranch, we call them ramblers, would generally consist of a 2,000 square foot basement and then a 2,000 square foot above ground level portion. Housing Area 1, West Valley, Magna, and Taylorsville. West Valley has a very mixed selection of homes. There are many small homes from the 1950s, and most were built since the 1970s. There are many areas in West Valley in which older homes are nestled right next to brand new subdivisions. But most of the homes built in the 1950s are 1,500 square feet or less, with lot sizes under a quarter acre. The homes built in the 1970s and 80s are larger, averaging around 2,500 square feet. But it was in the 1990s that things took off. Then you start to see homes over 3,000 square feet in size. Prices generally run in the mid 300s to around 800K for new homes. You can still find older homes with lot sizes over an acre, but these can sometimes run over $1 million. You're paying for the land in those cases. Magna is in the far western part of the valley and has a lot of homes built before 1960. These are smaller homes, of course. Prices in Magna run from the low 300s to the high 400s for the newer homes. 2 general rules I want to mention right off the bat. Land is king. You can almost always pay more for a house depending upon the lot size. Also, in many areas you can have horses or other large animals if you have a lot size over a half acre. The second item I wanted to mention is that homes built before 1990 generally have less roomy basements. In many of these older homes, your headroom may suffer and you have very small windows. So if you're 6'4", you may want to buy a newer home. But if you don't do a lot in the basement, they are great kid areas and storage areas. You just can't walk down there at full height. Taylorsville is a very popular area because it's a fast commute to downtown. Most of the homes in Taylorsville were built in the 1950s and 1990s. And the average size of a home in that area is from about 1,500 to 3,000 square feet. The lot sizes are normal, 0.18 to 0.25 acres. The prices average from about $400K to about $600K. A final note in this area. Most folks who are commuting to downtown Salt Lake will go up to the 201 highway and then head east to one of the freeways. The new Mountain View corridor is a great north-south access if you're heading south. Housing Area 2, West Jordan, Kearns. There's very little difference between West Jordan and Kearns. As a matter of fact, sometimes you can't tell where you're at. There are more 1950s homes in Kearns, and they tend to sell from the low 300s to the mid 400s. West Jordan, on the other hand, has a ton of new affordable homes. This area is one of the best spots to find a starter home. The volume of homes sold in West Jordan is probably the highest in the valley. Many sell their starter homes in West Jordan and then move to larger homes in South Jordan, Riverton, or on the east side of the valley. You'll also find a lot of rental homes in this area, so this is a great place for investment homes, as they are very easy to rent and very easy to turn over to sell fast when you want to sell them down the road. While there are some homes built before 1980, the vast majority of homes were built between the 80s and 90s and into the 2000s. In fact, it's a very even spread between 1980 and current. Most of the homes built in the 1980s have less than a quarter acre, 0.12 to 0.18, and they sell for between $350,000 to $450,000. They are typically under 2,000 square feet. The homes built in the 1990s are generally larger, from 2,000 to 3,500 square feet, and usually sell from about $400,000 to $800,000, depending upon how much land they come with. Homes built in the 1990s also typically come with more land than either those built before 1990 or after the year 2000. Almost all of the homes built after the year 2000 have more than 2,000 square feet. However, the amount of land that you get is generally back down to a quarter acre or less. A general rule for this area is 1980s and older, investments, rentals, and so forth. 1990s if you want more land. Post 2000 if you want all the bells and whistles like large master bedrooms, naughty altar cabinets, etc. Area 3, South Jordan and Daybreak. South Jordan. Most of the homes built in South Jordan were built since 1975. It's a very eclectic area with eclectic pricing. Prices range from about $400,000 up to $1.5 million depending upon how much land you want and the style of home. As most of the homes were built in the 1990s and early 2000s, you find decent sized lots in South Jordan. South Jordan also has some very nice 1990s areas with a lot of trees and wide streets. So let's talk about Daybreak. Daybreak is a totally planned community. It's with a little downtown, restaurants and so forth, lakes, walking trails, lots of community activities, and a lot of fun. Homes are very quaint, very colorful, with the San Francisco row house feel or Eastern craftsman bungalow type feel. If you want a big backyard, however, Daybreak is not the place to go for the most part. However, what you gain is lots of public parks very close to your home. So the huge family barbecue may take place at the park versus in your backyard. Everyone pays a monthly or quarterly fee to live in Daybreak, which was under $140 per month last time I checked, February 2022. If you're in a townhome, you would have an HOA on top of that $140 fee. Daybreak really is a fun place to live if you don't want a lot of yard work and you want lots of amenities and very colorful housing paint schemes. All right, Riverton, Bluffdale. Riverton up until recently had a third acre to half acre minimum requirement, so you'll find a lot of homes in Riverton with large yards. When I moved to Riverton in 1995, there was a lot of farmland and a lot of horses. In fact, if you want horses, you need a half acre and you can have two. Most folks with half an acre, however, don't have horses, but they bought these properties to get a little bit more leg room, elbow room, I guess. Third acre lots also give you a bit more leg room than the quarters, both visually and physically. Zoning is pretty flexible, and with a decent third acre lot and above, you can build that detached garage that you've always dreamed about. I get a lot of guys saying that they want a huge garage with a house attached. Do that in Riverton or Bluffdale. I love Riverton because it's a quick trip up the Mountain View corridor to the airport and a quick trip down to Utah County and Silicon Slopes. Prices average around $450,000 to over $1 million depending upon how much land you have and the age of the home, and most homes in Riverton were built after the 1980s. Bluffdale is very similar to Riverton, except that for a long time Bluffdale had a 1 acre rule. So you can find lots of huge lots in Bluffdale with lots of horses and huge detached garages. A lot of the new homes built since 2010 do have smaller lots, however, as land became more expensive, some less than 0.11, so you do have a large variety to pick from. Area 5, Harriman. As I mentioned earlier, Harriman and West Jordan are probably the best areas to buy a starter home. When I moved here in 1995, Harriman was mostly empty fields along the historic Fort Harriman downtown. I have literally watched Harriman grow and cover up those empty fields and hillsides. So Harriman homes were almost all built since about 1995. There are many clusters of neighborhoods. Some may call them cookie cutter to some extent, but as you move up the low hills to the south, you find very large homes with great views. Even the neighborhoods with smaller homes, however, have fantastic views of the majestic Wasatch Mountains and Salt Lake Valley. So if you pick your spot, you'll have fantastic views. From Harriman, you can take Mountain View Quarter up to the airport, or even Bangor up to the airport or downtown, or you can take the same highway down to the 15 and then get into Utah Valley, Silicon Slopes, and the Provo-Orem area. Harriman is a very active real estate market with lots of buying and selling, downsizing, upsizing, etc. Not as busy as West Jordan, but it's pretty busy. There are also lots of new townhomes in that area. Most of the homes in Harriman that I would call cookie cutter are under 3,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath above, a couple bedrooms down below, etc. And they sell in the $400,000 to $600,000 range, depending upon the lot size and age and upgrading and so forth. These are the homes that were built in the early 2000s. In the last 5 years, those built under 3,500 square feet got fancier and more pricey, a little squished up lots, a little bit more, and they're selling from about $500,000 to $800,000. Those homes that are over 3,500 square feet since 2005 are running from $500K to over $1 million, depending upon size, lot size, and views. Well, there's a quick view of the Salt Lake Valley west side. If you're interested in the east side of the valley, be sure to watch my video of that name, Salt Lake Valley East Side. Please make comments below and subscribe, and if you have any requests for future videos, please let me know. Thanks, see ya.